everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dallas, reppin' 52 of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis.
As always, I'm the other half, Brendan, reppin' 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We got a really great episode for you guys today. I know it's been a minute since we've been here. Unfortunately, life was lifing. Should be back to our regularly scheduled program, though, as we enter the time when there aren't a lot of sports happening. So we're going to figure that out as we go. But thank you for sticking with us. And for those of you that went back and watched some of our older videos and commented, we appreciate it. We're loving the love. For this week, we do have some breaking news, but it's pretty much all centered around football. So we're just going to do that when we get to football. A lot to talk about today, so we're just going to dive right in, starting with the NBA.
Yes.
So, Brendan, talk to us. What happened in the last month for the NBA?
Yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do, because it has been, I believe, a month since the last time we've talked. In that month, we've had the Thunder versus the Wolves in the Western Conference Final. The Thunder won 4-1. I don't think that's a real spoiler.
No.
And then in the East, we had the Knicks versus the Pacers. The Pacers won 4-2, meaning the NBA Finals was between the Thunder and the Pacers. It was a pretty good NBA Final. It ended last night in 7. The Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions. So they won 4-3 in 7. Congrats to them. First NBA title, I believe. So congrats to the Thunder. Something that happened during the game that is very unfortunate. Tyrese Halliburton goes down in the first quarter with an obvious Achilles tear. I do believe they confirmed it this morning that that's what it was. But ESPN showed the replay like 60 times during the broadcast, and every time they showed it, you kind of just knew he tore his Achilles. It's kind of easy to tell.
You can see that calf ripple.
Yeah, Achilles is one of the few injuries that is very easy to just kind of spot in replays. So yeah, everyone knew. Really unfortunate. He was having a hell of a postseason, hell of a run. But he goes down in the first quarter. Kind of unfortunate. Thunder were able to kind of steal it in that second half.
I'm not going to say for sure that the Pacers would have won had Halliburton been there. But I did watch this game. And Oklahoma really didn't shoot that well. The Pacers tried really hard to keep the momentum going, but the mistakes were too many. There was a lot of turnovers. They held it close until about midway through the third, and then it just started getting away from them, and they couldn't catch it. This was a hell of a series. I was really impressed by Indiana throughout the entire playoffs.
Yes.
They kept being doubted. They kept being overlooked. Halliburton was kind of finally making a name as a superstar. That calf injury popped up. He didn't want to rest it, which I respect. But
Game
when you
7.
have a calf injury, this can happen. It's really unfortunate. I feel really bad for him. He's probably out the entire next season. But like Brendan said, kudos to the Thunder. They did get it done. They've got the league MVP. Did get their first championship ever, and for the 7th year in a row,
new
champion.
So
congrats to them. And yeah,
I do want to comment on this because I've seen a lot of things saying like Mickey Mouse Championship, which comes from like when the Lakers won in the bubble. It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
I don't personally believe that. Again, you can say what if Halliburton didn't get hurt, but at the end of the day, the Thunder were a 68-win team in the regular season.
Yeah.
Were the best team in the West the whole season. Like they were the favorites to win anyway. Yes, you can always say, what if Halliburton doesn't get hurt in that game? And yeah.
But what if injury? It
doesn't matter.
It's professional sports. This is what happens. It's unfortunate.
You played the most games.
I promise you, I promise you that will haunt Halliburton.
Yeah,
And
for
it will
his
haunt that team.
entire career probably, unless he
But
goes
this
back.
happened.
Like
Like, it doesn't diminish what the Thunder did.
accomplished in the
Like,
season. Like at the end of the day,
no.
you have to because injuries go both ways. Now, granted, the Thunder I don't think had an injury to their lineup that was major enough for anyone to sit. So their whole starting five was healthy throughout the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
Their key bench players were all healthy, so the Thunder got lucky. It takes luck,
Most champions will tell you it takes a little luck. The ball has to roll your way sometimes.
and
Health
injuries
is a
is
part of it. Like, that's just the reality. That's just the reality.
so. Yeah,
So,
I don't take anything away from the Thunder in terms of that. Obviously, not a huge Thunder fan. Wasn't
yeah,
rooting for them, but
was rooting for the Pacers. Thought they were going to get it done. He went to take that step forward, hit the court, and I went, nope.
yeah, everyone knew. Everyone in the
That's
building.
that's the end of that.
Um, yeah.
I a lot of respect, honestly, to Siakam. He tried so hard to
I think
keep that
a
team
lot of respect to the
motivated and rallied.
Pacers for
Um,
still going out there and trying.
yeah,
Obviously, not enough,
they didn't
but
completely have the win taken out of them. It
yeah,
just
which
it
a lot
just
of
wasn't
times
enough.
when there's no captain in basketball, but when your main guy, your
Yeah,
superstar, the dude that's kind of been there for you this whole run goes out, it does deflate a
it's
team. Um, but I think the Pacers held in there. Unfortunate, but yeah. Again,
yeah.
congrats to the Thunder. Congrats to Shea, who was the Finals MVP. Um, becomes I think one of the first in recent times to get the Finals MVP and the regular season MVP.
I
It's
think
been a little
Curry
bit.
did it once.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since the last one.
Yeah,
Um, so congrats to him. Hell of a season. Uh, but I think that does it for like the finals. Just some housekeeping within the NBA. A lot's happened. The Knicks fired their head coach right after their series, so Tom Thibodeau no longer the head coach there. They're still waiting on a hiring. They asked a bunch of teams to interview their head coaches, and were pretty much told no by every single one of them. So they're still looking. Um, the Nuggets stick with Adelman, who was their interim during the playoffs. Obviously, had the eventual championships on the ropes. I think he did pretty well. He gets the job. The Suns hired Jordan Ott to be their head coach. I believe he was an assistant with Cleveland, and they just had an historic season as well. So he's coming from Cleveland. And then we have two trades that actually happened very recently. The trades have started in the NBA. First of all, the Grizzlies trade Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic. In return, they get KCP, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round picks, and a first-round pick swap this year. The swap kind of just doesn't matter. They just swap places. Um, but I think this trade is kind of insane for the Magic to make. 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane is a little crazy. But if the Magic think that this will truly help their season next year, who am I to argue, I guess, at this point? I don't care. The fact that Desmond Bane went for 4 first-round picks and Luka went for 1, I think is a little nuts.
that's
But
really the indictment.
that's the
That's
takeaway,
really-
is somehow the Grizzlies got more for Desmond Bane than the Mavericks got for Luka.
which is insane. It's
But,
insane.
you know,
Sure.
congrats to the Grizzlies. I think you guys definitely put yourself in a better position with that trade.
Yeah.
4 first-round picks is pretty decent. And then the big trade that happened yesterday, the Suns trade Kevin Durant to the Rockets. In exchange, they get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and then 5 future seconds. So another really big trade. Obviously, Kevin Durant, a marquee player in the league. Jalen Green, a young star. I think
I'm surprised they were willing to give up Jalen Green,
I
honestly.
am too. I think this is a better trade for the Suns. I think you bring in
Yeah,
another really young, solid player. Dylan Brooks is a great vet that just kind of is there, but he does a lot
yeah,
of really good things, especially in the playoffs. You get a really high pick in this year's draft, and then 5 seconds you can deal later, use them. There's nothing
whatever.
wrong with second round. Like,
Yeah,
it's the NBA draft. The second round is meh, but you got 5 of them. Use them how you want. For the Rockets, I think bringing in KD, he's your best player at this point immediately. I think this was a really young team, and that's where they struggled with in the playoffs. But I don't know if bringing in KD is going to be enough.
I get bringing in KD as not a leader, because that's not what he wants, but as a guy that can go out there and give you 20 a night. He's
That
just a
just
workhorse. He's just,
knows
you
what it
need a
takes in the
bucket, he
playoffs.
gets a bucket. But he needed to be in addition to, not a replacement for.
Yes.
And Jalen Green was kind of the Rockets' like future in terms of a superstar or a face. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure, especially without a pick this year, um,
How much I
where
like.
you're gonna go from here.
I don't like
And
this move for the Rockets
no,
personally,
I
but
like acquiring KD. I just think you should have done it differently.
yeah, I think acquiring KD
So
is fine. I just think giving up really for me, Jalen Green's the big one.
yeah,
Pick anybody else on that roster, and I'm probably sitting here going, all right, that's fine.
all right, yeah.
But
You
giving up,
kept your first round picks for the next few years,
like,
fine. But
again,
to deal Green,
even if you just like swapped Green out with somebody else and still gave up the same package, I would still feel better. Like, even if you gave
yeah,
up your 10th pick, I think Kevin Durant's better than whoever you're bringing in with the 10th pick, even though Kevin Durant's 35. Like,
yeah. No, I mean that's just true though. That's just true.
so, like, I don't mind that. And, like, Dylan Brooks is, again, fine, but he's not going to.
But Kevin Durant as a vet is better.
Yeah. So,
Like
again, if it wasn't for the Jalen Green part, I would like this trade more for the Rockets. But because you got rid of Jalen Green, I'm
yeah,
kind of.
I'm just
Unless you
I
win a
don't think you're
championship.
in a worse spot, but you're definitely not in a better spot.
Yeah. Unless KD leads you to a championship, I just don't like this trade for the Rockets. And I just.
He's past. I think Kevin Durant is past the point of being
The
the
lead.
focal point of a championship team. He is a great addition. He is not. He can't be the guy.
Yeah. So, again, all right. Great trade for the Suns, in my opinion. You get another young guy in picks.
Yeah.
Fix your cap issue. They have way too many shooting guards, but you can figure that out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the Rockets, I'm up in the air. I'm leaning towards don't like it.
Currently, I don't like it.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I mean, great move by the Suns.
Yeah. I think the
Like,
Suns win that trade. Like, I think
yeah,
like as of now, the Suns win the trade. If the Rockets go
as
on
of
to
right
win
now, yeah,
Rockets going on to win a championship in the next 2 years,
sure.
sure. But until then, I think the Suns absolutely won this trade. That really does it for the NBA.
Nice.
Really good playoffs.
Now we
Um,
just wait for the draft.
yeah, draft's coming up. We will expect more hires here soon. There's still plenty of positions open. The Knicks, I think, is really the big one.
The most surprising one.
Surprising. Definitely
That
surprising.
tells you he was getting fired no matter what the fuck happened. Unless they won a championship,
Yeah, it was
he was getting
champion.
fired.
It was championship or bust for the Knicks
Like,
and that head coach.
and they were like, "You didn't do it, so goodbye."
I guess fair enough if that's how you're
I
gonna.
mean, I get it. I get when you watch, especially their series with the Pacers. Like, we
And you,
didn't use enough of the bench, and that's kind of Thibodeau's problem. It's kind of his claim to fault. But he is a good coach. He has gotten them further every year. You have seen progress. This is the furthest they've been in a very long time.
But
But when it happens that quickly after that level of success, that was always the plan.
yeah. So, yeah. The Knicks is like the main job open right now. That's kind of who I'm curious to see who takes it. Because I think I know who the Knicks want to take it at this point.
Fair.
So, we'll come to you with the news when we get it. So,
cool.
We'll move on to more basketball, but we'll go to the WNBA.
Which has been fantastic. So, let's start with just some cleanup news. A lot of WNBA players, or not a lot, but a decent amount, are currently playing in a Euro League. So teams have added to their rosters. A lot of undrafted free agents or people that you saw get cut have been re-signed by teams. Get some experience, get some playing time while main rosters are away. The Valkyries signed Caitlin Chen back to their roster. I don't believe she's played yet, but she is getting that practice time, that experience with a WNBA team with part of their, I think it's like 4 of their players currently in a EuroLeague. So that's kind of what's happening there. I also believe the Valkyries have gone 0-2 since they started. The big news, though, is the Fever have an enforcer. And I am here for it. If y'all remember, many videos ago, I said one of my big problems was not that people were beating on or fouling Caitlin Clark. I watch women's sports. That's not uncommon. It's just sports. People beat on Steph Curry for years.
Sports, period.
Someone threw Michael Jordan to the ground and punched him in the face. Like, that just happens. My issue was the Fever weren't defending her. I didn't feel like her teammates were rallying for her. When you start getting pushing and shoving, it's just kind of commonplace for your team to stand up and push back. And we hadn't seen that. Caitlin was kind of being left to handle it herself or walk away, which she's really good at. But now they have an enforcer.
But your best player shouldn't have to handle it herself.
Yeah, like, shouldn't have to. She should be allowed to kind of walk away and let her team have her back. And that hasn't happened. Until now. Yes. Now, Sophie Cunningham is out here throwing women to the court and then grabbing them by the ponytail. Which, I'm telling you, I've watched that clip like 400 times.
Fair enough.
It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Hey, you gotta have somebody.
Somebody's gotta do it. The real problem this season, and this is across multiple teams, this isn't just a Fever issue. The refs this year have been wildly inadequate. I've never been a blame the ref person. We have talked football, we have talked hockey. I don't blame the refs. Calls get missed. Calls get, like, they're human.
Yeah.
The complete lack of understanding, know-how, or gumption with this round of refs is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There are full-on brawls happening across multiple games and multiple teams because the refs aren't dealing with fouls when they come up. And that leads to retaliation. It leads to a bitch throwing someone to the ground. That's the real problem. That's the real story. Yes, I think you should let them play. I think the league is better with a level of physicality. Not everything needs to be called.
But when brawls break out...
But a blatant swipe to the eye that leads to, hey, get away from me, and then someone body slamming you to the ground is not an ejection. We have a problem. We have a problem. And the Fever are done taking yo shit.
Yeah. That made
I
very
loved
clear.
it. I was here for it. You saw the same thing with the Sparks. I was going to say the Stars again. With the Spark. No, god damn it. The Wings. Paige got thrown to the ground.
Oh.
Her whole team went, just stay there a second. And went and handled it. What I have found very interesting this year, this is just a little commentary, is Paige's introduction to the WNBA versus what Caitlyn's has been. Caitlyn's has been violent. It's been a violent introduction. Paige's has been very welcoming and very supportive. I think that is a difference in their talent level. I also think it's a difference in how they play.
I was going to say mentality is...
Paige is very much a friendly person, will talk to everybody that's around. Caitlyn, just so we're super clear, invites a lot of the bullshit that comes her way.
Yes.
Like, trash talks like there's nobody's business. Just like there's not going to be repercussions. I'm here for it. I like it. I like the physicality, but the refs have to be getting involved before the brawls break out. Because that's when we've gone too far. What I do find interesting, Sophie Cunningham's little wrestling move, she was only fined $400 for. That is the minimum for a fine in the WNBA. That's basically the WNBA went, we get it. So,
but we have to fine you?
Yeah, like we have to, but we get it. So...
That's alright.
It doesn't really discourage doing it in the future the way fines are meant to. But we shall see. I think
it's because they probably haven't updated fines.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance that.
The sport's growing. Players are now making more money.
Mm-hmm.
$400 when they might have wrote that fine might have actually meant something more than it does now.
Well, and what I will say is the fine was not very discouraging. I think that interaction was. I think in the past you thought I could kind of fuck with her and get away with it.
But now it's...
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Look, the WNBA has been great. It is growing. I think it's good for the sport, honestly. I think in a physical competition, there isn't necessarily bad press. And this is not bad press. It draws people in.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I really am.
And
the refs need to do their job. It should not get to that point. But if it's going to get to that point, I respect and appreciate a teammate standing up for them.
Yes.
So.
It's been my main issue with the WNBA, is the lack of people coming to her defense on her own team.
Yeah. Like, it's one thing to get at the podium or a press conference and be like, this isn't okay, this isn't... But handle it on the court.
Yeah.
Handle it.
You see it in every sport.
Yeah.
Ever. Actually,
people don't push Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce just goes, yeah, that's fine.
Or his offensive line.
He'll deal with it.
Yeah. The offensive line's jumping your ass. In hockey, you touch a rookie, you're getting punched in the face. It's just... You touch
a goalie.
You touch a goalie. You get punched. You touch the best player, rookie, or goalie. You're getting the shit kicked out of you.
So, to not having seen that in the especially with Caitlyn, was disappointing last year. Yes. I am greatly appreciating that we've corrected the situation. Might have overcorrected.
I think overcorrection is probably
here for it.
An appropriate step because you were letting it go for a whole year, so teams felt that they could get away with it.
again, if the refs had gotten involved early, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
This wouldn't have happened. So I'm here for it. I'm appreciating it. I'm glad to see someone stepping up.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Alrighty, well that does it for WNBA. Let's move
Yeah.
on to the NHL, which also wrapped its season.
Yes, the NHL wrapped up their season. While we were gone, the Stars and the Oilers played in the Western Conference Final. The Oilers won the series 4-1. So the Oilers went to the finals, and then in the East, the Canes versus Panthers. The Panthers won 4-1. So the Panthers went to the finals. So the finals was between the Oilers and the Panthers, same as last year.
Yep,
So
if
we
this
got a.
sounds familiar,
This was
because it
last.
is.
Yeah. So we got a rematch from last year, and the rematch went the same way. The Panthers win the Stanley Cup. This time they do it in 6 games instead of 7. But once again, the Panthers won the Stanley Cup, so they are now back-to-back champions. So congrats to the Florida Panthers. They were just the better team, truthfully. They
Yeah,
kind of just
I
steamrolled through the playoffs, and
through the first 4 games, I really thought
the Oilers had a
it was going
chance.
to go 7, and the Oilers had a shot in 7. Game 5 came around, and you just knew it was over. The
But
Oilers just didn't have the energy left,
and
honestly.
McDavid seemed off the whole
Yeah,
series. Like he just didn't. I don't want to say he didn't show up. He could be dealing with
because
injuries, but like he wasn't his usual.
he wasn't McDavid. He
Yeah,
was not operating at his normal
where he can take over
level.
games. It just
Yeah,
seemed like something was off. Whether he was injured, he was tired, other stuff. It just seemed like he was off.
yeah,
And the Panthers seemed like they were just very much on. Everyone
yeah.
kind of was contributing for them. Their goaltending was playing all right. That cannot be the same. Said, yeah, the Oilers' goaltending was not playing all right. They were playing
No.
very bad, actually. It's bad when you have to use 2 goalies in the Stanley Cup Finals. Um,
Yeah.
so
And it didn't help. It didn't help.
it didn't help.
So,
So you know, not not what you want to see for the Oilers. But again, congrats to the Panthers, back-to-back champs. Pretty hard to do it in the NHL. Um, so congrats to them. We'll see if they can three-peat next year. But that's pretty much it.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
and
congrats to them.
yeah,
It's not what I wanted, but
not
it's
what I
not what,
wanted,
and,
but
it happens. It is the curse of Canada. It's
yes,
unfortunate,
they
but
have not
you come
won.
so close.
They have not won in a long time.
Canada hasn't won in 30 years,
I think that's right. I
32,
think it was 94, 90, 93,
93, 94.
something like that. It's been
And then the Oilers,
yeah,
the Oilers, was it 89, 90?
it's been a long time
Been a
for
minute.
Canada
Been a minute.
winning the NHL, which is very interesting, considering Canada's supposed to be better at hockey.
Yeah, well,
But granted, 90% of NHL teams are made up of Canadians, so I mean, like,
yeah. So it's technically,
yeah. In terms of housekeeping, Connor Hellebuck, the goalie for the Winnipeg Jets, won the Hart Trophy, which is the equivalent of the MVP in the NHL. He becomes the first goalie in a long time to win the award, so congrats to him. Had a hell of a season. Um, didn't really go well in the playoffs, but had a hell of a regular season. So congrats to him on the Hart. Cale Makar wins the Best Defenseman award for the Avalanche. Congrats to him.
the 4th time.
It's only his second, actually. It feels like a lot more because he's
It
always like
feels like
second.
way more.
Yeah, he's like been
That's
runner up
crazy.
2 other times,
Okay, that's why I'm thinking 4.
but yeah, it's only his second. But he's also been in the league for like 6 years. So I mean,
So it's still a lot.
yeah. Uh, Other things, the Dallas Stars fired Pete DeBoer, their head coach. So he is now looking for a new job, and they're looking for a new head coach. And then there was a trade today, actually, that I'm going to have to try to find. The Anaheim Ducks sent Trevor Zegras to the Flyers. That's like the only important thing in the trade. Zegras is kind of a young star, very flashy player, but that's pretty much it. Expect more trades to happen now that this one has and the season's over.
In hockey
tends
like
to
I know
wait.
in
It's
the
a weird.
NFL, like they kind of wait, and in basketball they happen right away. NHL, they tend to wait till about midway through their off season.
Yeah, they tend to
before
wait
trades really kick
to
off.
like weeks before, like a couple weeks before the draft is really when you'll see the bulk of the NHL trades. So this one happened pretty early in NHL standards. So that's cool, but that's pretty much it. NHL is done. Congrats to the Panthers again for a hell of a season. And that does it for the NHL.
Yeah. Cool. Well, moving on, we got a request for more baseball talk.
Yes.
So Brendan watched some college baseball.
I was watching the College World Series because that was going on. Figured I might as well watch the College World Series, truth be told. Yeah. So that was a really fun tournament. Lots of crazy games. Lots of games that came down to the ninth inning, especially late in the playoff run. A lot of things came down to the ninth inning. The final was between Coastal Carolina and LSU, Louisiana State. Going into this final, Coastal Carolina had won 26 straight games. They had won every game in the playoff plus some prior. So 26 in a row. That is insane numbers to be putting up. Truth be told, like that's kind of historical.
That's crazy.
And then they lost 2 straight to LSU in the final. And College World Series, the final is a best of 3 series. LSU swept them in the best of 3. So you win 26 in a row just to lose 2 in a row to LSU. Unfortunate, but LSU is the national champions. Again, this was actually a really fun tournament. Arkansas played really well in it. LSU played really well in it. Coastal Carolina, obviously. Oregon State did really well, made it to, I think, the semis. Who else was in the semis? Oregon State, Coastal, Arkansas, Louisville played really well in it. I'm forgetting one of the sides of the bracket. UCLA, and I think that was it. There's one more. Oh, and Murray State. Shout out to Murray State for making it to at least the, I guess, Mount. I have no idea what you call it in baseball. They made it to the second part of the playoffs.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have no idea. College baseball is very weird.
I don't know.
Because they have a regionals, which is like the first round of the playoffs. You then go to the super regionals, which takes the winner. So there's a winners and losers bracket. The super regional takes the winner of the winners bracket and the winner of the losers bracket. They play. The winner of that then goes to the next round, which is played in a neutral site. And then you do the whole thing again until you get to the final.
Sounds like a lot.
College baseball is
sounds like a lot.
Very weird. But again, it was kind of fun. I'm not a big baseball person, but I was having fun with it.
We're trying. We're still trying.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say. Again, LSU wins the national championship, so congrats to them. Congrats to the teams that made it to Omaha, which is where the final is played, but they play a bunch of the games prior. It's so weird. I don't understand this sport. So there's
what happens, y'all. You asked us to get into something,
and we watch it once.
Come back more confused.
because so the regionals are all played in separate areas. You have like one down in Louisiana. It's like who's good gets a regional. So
Okay.
like one in Louisiana, one in California. They were all over the place. And then you get to the regionals, super regionals. The winner of those all meet each other in Omaha to then play in like the World Series, which is like actually when the playoffs start in a way to me. Like the regionals
Okay.
is to figure out who's going to the playoffs, and then the playoffs start once you get to Omaha.
Okay.
But it's a weird
Sounds very
losers
confused.
bracket thing going.
Yeah.
It's not easy to explain to someone that doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Because I don't
Well,
know what the fuck's going on. Like, I was just watching it, and like, teams got excited to win. I got excited for them. When teams got super sad, I figured they were done.
You're like, I think they're done. I don't think they get to play again.
And then I found out later that, because they only lost once, they get to play again until they lose again. That was the real. Okay, didn't they just lose the other day?
Aren't
Especially
they supposed to be out of it?
because no, LSU wasn't. LSU did win the whole way. LSU and Coastal won the whole way through. Oh, it was Arkansas. Arkansas lost like the first week of like the World Series. So like the
Okay.
first like round, they lost, and then they ended up meeting LSU back to decide who goes to the World Series. And I was like, wait, I thought Arkansas lost.
Weren't they out like 2 rounds ago?
What is? What are we doing? So that was, I guess, interesting. But that's what you get for asking us to watch baseball.
You get
I
just
decided,
confusion.
I decided to watch college baseball thinking it would be easy.
Similar.
It is, other than the bracket is kind of weird. But again, enjoyed watching it. Hopefully we'll watch more of the MLB now.
Yeah.
Didn't really
And
pay
we will.
attention to it while
Now
college was
with
going on. Now with no other sports
everything
on,
else kind of done, we'll try to focus a little bit more on baseball.
so I'll watch more MLB because I'm assuming that's what people actually want, considering it's bigger than
I
college.
just only had like
But
life has been lifing, and
life has been lifing, and college actually meant something right now. Truth be told, they were playing for the title.
Many regular season baseball games. It's hard to be like
182
this
or
matters.
something. Like there's 100 games. It's more than that, but like
I think it's 182.
I think So a game in I don't know June that means fuck all just doesn't sound very exciting to me.
Yeah, I don't.
So I watched what mattered in terms of like they are playing for the national championship. That is the end goal. That's why I found it interesting because the competition actually like meant
It's
something,
relevant.
and you can tell with the players' passion that like they were trying to go out there and actually win. Whereas sometimes I don't feel like baseball. I can't say every night those guys are going out there with 100% effort. So,
completely agreed. Well, congratulations to LSU's baseball team.
Yeah, I think they're back. They're not back to back, but I know they made it there last year. I think they were good last year too. I literally have no idea, but I know they were good. I know they were good.
Okay, well, congratulations to them.
So,
moving on. I think we are heading now into NFL, which, as y'all know, of course, our first and foremost love. So where we will spend the remainder of our day, I believe.
Yeah, and we have quite a bit of it, considering it's the like dead period of the off season.
Yeah,
like from like the end of minicamp to the start of training camp is just nothing for the NFL, and that's currently where we're at. Is minicamps just ended, training camps won't start for another couple weeks.
Another few weeks, yeah.
So,
well, let's start with the long list of breaking news.
Yeah, we'll start with the TV shows that the NFL are doing this year. So the Bills were announced to be the training camp Hard Knocks. As you know, we like Hard Knocks. This year it is going to be the Buffalo Bills doing training camp. I'm fine with
And
that. I think it'll be
that comes, by the way, with their recent rule change.
yes.
You used to have to, like, you couldn't make the playoffs. They found that the teams that meet the criteria or met the criteria
Was
were
like
getting
5.
fewer and fewer. So they eliminated that,
I
which
think,
is what gives us the opportunity to see the Bills.
which I like the rule change.
I do too. I do too.
I
I can't keep watching crappy teams.
I can't
during
keep
training camp.
watching
I don't care.
the Jets, who are the most dysfunctional franchise.
Yeah, like I could give
Don't
a
get
shit.
me wrong. The drama of watching dysfunctional franchises is fun, but also
Here's the thing, right? If they hadn't done Aaron Rodgers' first year, I would be intrigued in this one now with the head coaching change, like with all of
yeah.
the changes they've made. And Justin Fields, fine, give me that. But I can't do the Aaron Rodgers one 2 years ago and now be interested in this. I can't do it. I don't give a fuck.
So,
They're a bad team. They're a dysfunctional organization. Let's just move on with our damn lives.
so yeah, like watching dysfunctional organizations, while it's fun for the drama aspect and kind of just laughing at how shitty they are, it is kind of nice to watch an actually competent organization that knows kind of what they're doing. Like, obviously, the Bills don't have a championship. The Bills can't really make it past a certain point, but they make it to that point. And they have a great quarterback. They have a lot of things going well for them.
Yeah.
I think it will be a pretty good watch in terms of football.
I agree.
And every time the NFL films does a great job, so I'm not worried about that regardless. And then the in-season was announced. They are doing the same thing as they did last year. They are going to take a whole division and cover that for the in-season. Last year it was the AFC North. This year they are doing the NFC East. So they are doing the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, and Eagles.
That's really good television.
That is because you got
despite what you may think about it, like those are that's a very intriguing division.
You have
right? You have the Super Bowl champs, the youngest quarterback success in the playoffs, the Cowboys,
America's
and
team. Whatever the Giants are doing.
Everything they're doing. So it's definitely interesting.
With the quarterback situation the Giants have put themselves in is really what I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
And whether
is by the time this airs, who's the quarterback?
Yeah. And does Brian Dable and Joe Shane still have a job?
Yeah, do they have their jobs?
So that'll be another one. I like it because you do have like the spectrum of that one. Mm-hmm. Of like you have really high quality organizations, and then you have the Cowboys and the Giants. Had to throw a little.
You have the dysfunction that was previously mentioned.
Yeah, had to just clarify that I was talking about the Cowboys.
Yeah, was.
But I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I think that'll be great.
And then there is one other thing that the NFL Films is doing. We are getting a second season of Quarterbacks, the show on Netflix. This season will feature 3 quarterbacks again. It will have Kirk Cousins again because he was on the original Quarterbacks. It'll have Joe Burrow and Jared Goff. So, Kirk Cousins returns. I mean, okay.
There's a theme. To that list.
There's a theme. I wasn't really going to get to the theme, but Kirk Cousins returns. That's all right. He was kind of good in the first one. I am intrigued to see how they do it with this one, considering he's not going to play, most likely.
Yeah, like, do we care?
Obviously, I think the 2 that you show up for is Jared Goff and Joe Burrow. I'm more excited for Jared Goff. I just like the Lions. I think they're a
Yeah.
fun organization right now,
I think they're
and I
a
think this would
great
be.
organization to root for and to support. And I'm excited. I feel
And
like
yet,
Goff is so often like
just kind of not someone
he's
you.
just kind of quiet, like he
And that's.
lets his actions and his effort speak for itself, and that's great.
But
Um
I'm kind of excited
but
to
I mean
see the.
I'm excited to see how he's
And I'm also excited to see Burrow.
because he's way younger than like people think he is.
Yeah,
And he
like
does have a lot of talent, and to be somewhere that really has rallied behind him is impressive. Burrow's there. We'll see if he stays healthy this year. It's not
I'm
important.
excited to see Burrow just because again, I would consider him up there in terms of quarterbacks, top 5 in that range. You can
Okay.
argue where he goes in the general range, whether it's just
Yeah.
outside or just inside. I'm not going to say he's top 3,
No.
but he might fit in the top 5, depending on your arguments,
Sure.
in my opinion.
Sure.
So I am excited to see that at least.
Yeah. No, that's not the argument. We're not having that argument today. That's
No.
we'll do quarterback rankings in a couple weeks. It's fine. Look,
I'm
here's
trying to think of
all
where
I'm
I'd
gonna
put
say.
him, but yeah.
I'm intrigued to see Burrow. Um,
But
Obviously, I am not a Bengals fan. I have no love, no loss. I could give a shit. Um, but I'm excited for season 2.
it was a
We
good
really
show.
enjoyed quarterbacks. I greatly enjoyed receivers. I wasn't sure where they were going to go. I know some of the quarterbacks they wanted
All
said
said no.
no. So I think it's interesting that a quarterback that missed the playoffs 2 years in a row thinks that this is a valuable way to spend his time. But that's okay. Everybody makes choices.
I don't
So
know, man. It just
I am confused about what we're gonna see from Kirk Cousins.
that's the
Um,
one that I'm like, what are we
Especially because I
with
am not convinced he will be a Falcon the entire season.
that and
So,
like what's the game plan? Like if he's just on the bench,
like, we don't care. We don't care.
I mean like don't get me wrong, part of me's like it would be kind of curious, be like, what does a backup
What
actually
does a
do all
backup
day?
do? And not just a backup, right? Because, okay, it's one thing to look at
Like I don't know.
Lamar or Mahomes backup, right?
Yeah.
Who is a true backup.
Like who okay,
Cousins is kind of needed in a mentorship right now.
yes. What is like
Like
a ment
Penix is leaning on him.
yeah, what but like what does who the I have no idea who the backup for either team, but like what does I don't know what does like Drew Lock do all day because he's backing up.
Yeah.
Like what do you do?
Yeah.
Like obviously you work out, you like do practice, but like what's like your actual like
Yeah. And that's why I think it's two different situations. If you looked at Drew Lock, maybe not with Sam Darnold now. But again, I think like Mahomes' backup, he doesn't lean on his backup the whole time.
no I
But
think his
Penix is so young
is Mahomes
and hasn't.
backup Minshew now? Is that where
I
he
think
went?
so. I
Yeah,
think
like
so. Yeah. Like Lamar Jackson's backup is Cooper Rush. You don't help him. I'm
that's right.
sorry, you
That's where
don't.
he went. Yeah,
Like um
but like I don't know.
but
I
to see like a mentorship and how that's going to look,
yeah
I think that could be interesting
yeah that
because that is the dynamic.
that's going to be the dynamic, assuming he
Penix is too
stays.
young. Yeah, as long as he's a Falcon.
But
Well,
beyond
the
that,
number one place I thought he was going to go
yeah,
took care of their problem. Sort of, maybe, on paper.
you added a body to that position. So obviously Aaron Rodgers had been remained unsigned to this point. He has now signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers filled a name on their quarterback sheet. They had two going into it. One of them was Mason Rudolph, and one of them was newly drafted Will Howard in the 6th round. So you add Aaron Rodgers to hopefully be your starting quarterback for the year, and win you games. All I'm going to say to Steelers is good luck. Because
Win you games. That. Jesus Christ. That is not the standard that the Steelers should have for themselves as an organization. I just want to be clear, right? The Steelers, as a franchise, have more Super Bowls than anybody.
Yeah.
Your standard should not be
winning 9 games at this point.
9 games. It's sad.
But
it should be win playoff games. Now,
I don't think they're winning 9 games.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to help you with that. No.
No.
Their O-line got worse because their star left tackle retired.
Yeah. O-line got worse.
They lost their running back. They lost a wide receiver. They gained DK Metcalf. Cool.
You replaced one diva with another.
You still only have one true wide receiver. Your defense is currently unsigned and refuses to sign the offer given to him. So what's going on there?
Yeah,
think the person that's going to rally this team is one of the most controversial quarterbacks in the NFL.
And you signed him in June.
Yeah.
After minicamp.
He missed all of minicamp, all of OTAs. He and Arthur Smith, by the way, I don't imagine are going to get along because Arthur Smith's system is not an Aaron Rodgers system. It's not even Aaron Rodgers friendly.
No.
So
Aaron Rodgers wants to throw the ball.
A lot.
Arthur Smith wants to throw the ball a little. Like, the least in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think that's quite true.
So,
but it's close.
I'm just wondering what the plan is, what the goal is. Now, they have a lot of first-round picks for next year.
If your goal is to lose games and actually suck this year and have a good draft pick, you might succeed in that mission. And I respect it. And I honestly think that's kind of what the Steelers need to do at some point, is just suck.
Here's the thing. I am all for the plan. I'm all for the plan. The problem is you keep going 9-8, 10-7.
Yeah. And I don't think
you have a middle round draft pick, not enough to move up, not enough to
do anything.
But then I wouldn't have signed Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's the thing.
Because he is extremely toxic to a locker room. Like, at least say, hey, we have Trubisky.
They don't even have Trubisky. They have Mason Rudolph.
Rudolph. Rudolph, who they like, by the way. The Steelers locker room has always liked.
Yeah, and
Will Howard. And maybe we can bring the rookie along, which the Steelers have never been historically known for doing. It's fine. Like Tomlin inherited Ben Roethlisberger. That's not.
I was going to say you signed a quarterback, and you're just not good at doing any of this. Like, let's be clear. Tomlin sucks at all of it. At quarterbacks, period.
Yeah. So I just think this was the wrong way to do this.
Yeah. And I think if you were going to suck, I would have just said fuck it and stuck with Will Howard.
This is our team. Or I would have gone and gotten Kirk Cousins. I'm going to be honest with you.
Like, yeah.
Like if you wanted an older veteran in the locker room, I'd have gone and gotten
you would have to pay more, but at the end of the day, I think Kirk actually fixes your problem. Because I think a lot of what Kirk's problem last year is he never fully healed his Achilles. I think he never fully.
Him to be way better this year.
I don't think he ever fully trusted. Let me put it that way. A lot of injuries, the main thing to get over is the mental. And I think he would tell you he was having problems just trusting that he wasn't going to re-injure himself. In terms of, like, I
think he'd be way better this year.
So
I think he's a more healthy presence in the locker room.
He absolutely is. Kirk Cousins is like
Like
it's like the least
it's
controversial quarterback I can think of. Let's be clear.
absolutely.
In terms of like, he's gonna be out of the media. He's going to be pretty respectful in any interview he ever does. He's going to be well liked because he just is. Like, he just
He
kind
doesn't
of,
throw his teammates under the bus at the podium.
yeah.
It's that simple.
That's the first, like, he'll be respectful at the podium.
Because I can't wait for the first time. Well, DK Metcalf ran the wrong route. I'm sure that's going to go real well. I'm sure.
I just want to see it. That's
Like,
my, like, part of me is like, now I wish they had Pickens still, because I would
my God.
just
most toxic shit.
I would just love to watch. At this point, I'd be like, fuck the Bills, get them
We're just here
on
for
Hard
the
Knocks.
drama.
Like, this would be just prime time television, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
that's just a chaotic fucking nightmare.
Like,
I would just pop some popcorn for.
Yeah, I would sit back and
I'm going to be honest, as the Ravens and a Ravens fan, I'm just laughing.
as someone that just, I don't care. Like, it's the AFC, it's the Steelers. Like, to me,
it's interesting because we're going to talk about another AFC North team.
yeah.
And it's interesting to, like, for so long, the AFC North was just this really competitive division that the rest of the league kind of feared. And now it's like 75% a joke.
Yeah, it's bad when I'm kind of sitting here going, do the Browns look better than the Bengals and the Steelers this year?
I don't know, because they have a quarterback on their roster that doesn't know how to grow up.
Yeah, and then, that's a whole thing. But, like, I'm still sitting there going, like, do I have more faith in the Browns to be a competent-ish right now than I do the other two? Because I'm leaning that way the further we get into the season. I'm
going to be honest with you.
Like, it...
Because, like... Okay, you have quarterback questions. Fine.
90% of the league does.
Go to the Steelers. I think the Bengals have quarterback questions. Is he going to be healthy?
Is he going to be healthy?
Like, they have massive questions at other spots.
If, like, let's just assume Joe Burrow's healthy. That offense is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that offense. Burrow is great for that offense because he gets the ball out on time, and he has two great wide receivers. He probably has the best wide receiver in the league, top two at least. It's him and Justin Jefferson. Yeah. You can make an argument for either, and I'd listen. I would say Chase, because Chase just did a Triple Crown. That's very hard to do. And your offensive line's fine. It's not great, but it's manageable. So the offense is fine. But your defense is a fucking shit show. And speaking of the defense, they can't sign Trey Hendrickson. They don't want to trade him either because they're stubborn as fuck. And your first round pick, the dude that was coming in to replace Hendrickson if you did move Hendrickson, doesn't want to sign for you. And that's really bad. That's really bad.
So we're going to get into this just a second. So, in case there's still some confusion, I know we're late to the party. So there's a lot been put out about this, but in case there's still some confusion. The Cincinnati Bengals added a line to his contract, to his rookie contract, that basically stated if he got into any trouble at all, any suspensions, had to miss games, miss practices for anything, it could null and void his guarantees for the entire contract. Understand, that is not something any team has ever done.
And also understand that every first round pick gets a fully guaranteed contract. Yeah. Pretty much.
Because it's completely fucking ridiculous. He's a young man. Things happen. It's a bummer, but they're growing up.
And
Shit happens.
I
They
promise
get
you,
into trouble on the field. They get a little hot-headed, especially defensive players. Especially.
you're a D lineman. All it takes is you hitting the quarterback slightly late.
Slightly wrong. Like twice, and you get a suspension. It happens. It's a bummer, but it happens. So to put his career and his money on the line like that, no. He's not signing that contract. That makes sense. No, he's not being a diva. This is ridiculous.
Like, don't get me wrong. It is a little weird for a first round pick, but like again, when it's this situation, I'm like, all right, you have at least a reason.
When it first came out, I was like, bro, sometimes first round picks take a moment to get their contracts. Now that I know why he's not signing it, I respect it. I also would not step on the field to get hurt for a team that has already proven they're hesitant to pay me regardless.
Yeah, I think the Bengals, like that's the thing. I think the Bengals might be the most functional in
They have to be.
The North.
They have to be at this point.
Because your defense, like your best player and your only defender, really, that I care about, is Trey Hendrickson. And he's one of the best D-line in the league, bar none. Best, like, he led the league in sacks last year.
Yeah.
And you're not going to re-sign him? Like...
So did you... And you do... Like, I understand what we did with Chase and Higgins. But you've told the entire defense...
that they're not worth it.
We will not pay you, and you're not worth it.
So you, one, aren't willing to pay your best player, Trey Hendrickson. Okay. I get, like, at the end of the day, that might be fair. He is over 30 at this point, or he's 30 at this point. Maybe
you want to
paying
get younger
him,
at the position.
Maybe paying him what Myles Garrett and Crosby are making doesn't make sense. Sure. Then trade him.
Yeah. Then deal him. Deal him and pay your rookie what you're supposed to and leave stupid shit out the contract.
But you are refusing to pay Hendrickson. You're refusing to take that clause out of the rookie's deal. You released your best linebacker in Jermaine Pratt, who remains unsigned. So I guess he could go back. Doubt it, but he could. Don't know why he would.
Yeah,
they've proven that they don't care. Proven they don't care about the defense. So, you know, you don't have a linebacker now. Their corners aren't anything special. Their safety is Geno Stone, and that's it. I can't think of the other one.
No, they reworked his contract to pay him less.
Yeah. To not pay, to pay T. Higgins probably is really what it works out to be. So, I think you've just told your entire defense,
you're not worth it.
We don't care.
Which is crazy when you do need the defense to win games.
Especially in the division you're in. It's just like...
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you can get away with... Like, again, this offense, when everybody's healthy, everything's going well, can put up 40 points a game, I think is reasonable when that offense is playing its best.
Yeah.
And you'll win a lot of games putting up 40 points. If you have a defense that won't give up 50. And that's where you're tracking to. That's why you lost to the Ravens twice. Is your offense put up 40 points in both games, but the Ravens put up like
your
50.
Your defense gave up more. So, it's insane. It's ridiculous. It's just turned into one of the most dysfunctional divisions, is what it's become.
Like, you have the Ravens, who I think at this point are the only ones that can claim to be functional. Because they don't have a quarterback problem. I think they have the opposite of a quarterback problem, let's be clear.
Yeah.
They don't have any diva wide receivers that are causing issues. Their defense is mostly fine. Like, obviously, you might want to get better at some positions. I think they did a good job of that recently. But
we're going to talk about that a little later.
You might want to get better a little bit, but I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
You have signed most of your rookies. None of them are truly holding out.
No.
And you're
And we have competence at every level of the front office.
you have the second longest tenured head coach at this point.
Yeah, Tomlin's the only one.
I was like, I know
That's a
Tomlin's
hard
ahead
one.
of him. I couldn't think if anyone else was.
Tomlin's the only one.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't understand what the Steelers are doing. I don't understand what the Bengals are doing.
and the Browns continue to just kind of be the Browns.
The Browns have a maturity problem in their quarterback room.
So
So
that's something, I guess,
yeah.
Till
Well, still in football world, but we are going to pivot a little bit to college
just
as
for a
they
minute.
changed their playoff structure.
Yes.
They announced that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit.
So all they changed, I say all, I think this is all they changed. All they did was change who gets the buys. So last year, when they first implemented the 12-team playoff, the buys went to the highest ranked conference champions. Got the 4 first round buys. They're changing that to now it's not conference champions. It is whoever the 4 highest ranked teams at the end of the season are. So it's no longer based on the conference. So let's say if Georgia and Alabama are 1 and 2, but Georgia wins the SEC, last year Georgia would have gotten the bye, Alabama wouldn't have. Now they both will because they are ranked 1 and 2. That's really all they're changing. I think this is a fine change. I do think that was kind of weird last year, how you have teams that are all right, but aren't top tier getting
Yeah,
buys. They are keeping it though to where the Power Four conferences, if the winners of those conferences each get automatically into the tournament, though that's staying, which I do still like. I think that works because I do want to reward teams for winning their conference. I think that's important. So
the
rewarding them.
regular season has to matter somewhat.
So rewarding them with an automatic into the tournament, that's fine. But I also like the idea of having the top 4 teams get the bye. So overall, I like the changes. I didn't think they needed to change a whole ton from last year. I don't think they changed it to where they reseed now, which I know we discussed earlier about not really liking that.
Yeah.
If they continue that way, I think I'll just kind of get over it. It's not something I'm overly worried about. Obviously,
It's not the hill you're going to die on.
yeah, it's not something that I'm going to sit here and go, I'm not watching college football playoffs
Yeah, no,
because they
that's
don't.
because they don't reseed.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it might put a team at a disadvantage a little bit, but if you're going to
We'll
stick
see
with
now
that,
with giving the highest ranks the bye, maybe what that does.
fixes the. I think that'll fix a lot of it, truth be told, but I guess we'll see. I like
Yeah.
the change. Um, I don't think they needed another huge one after going to 12 teams. I think that alone was a huge change, and I don't think they're going
Yeah.
to change it that big again. So a small change like this, I think, is fine. And I don't see them making another, unless it's very minor, another change next year, unless they do the reseeding. That could be the last one, but I doubt it. I think they kind of
Have to
want
wait
to
and see kind of how this year's playoffs go.
go. Because I think the problem was in the most recent one with the change, it wasn't an issue because it went chalk. Like
Yeah.
the favorites always won, so it wasn't like we had to reseed.
Yeah.
So maybe after this year, if you have some upsets and some things happen,
Then
if
maybe.
they realize, oh wait, reseeding's better. But I don't think they're going to change a ton next year.
That's
That would
fair.
be my guess. They've gone through a lot of changes. I think they want to try to stick to this is what we're doing for a while.
Fair.
But yeah.
Okay.
Very minor in the college football. That's pretty much all we had to bring. So we can
But we
get
bring all sports news.
Yeah. So that kind of covers it for football breaking news.
Nice.
Other than the stuff that we're going to get into in the Ravens and the Seahawks. So we'll start that now. You want to start with the Ravens?
Sure. A lot to get through. So I'm going to kind of go backwards in time. I am starting with some of the more recent stuff, just how it all played out. I apologize. Starting with a hire. They hired Rutgers Raymond Ruiz as player personnel assistant. You've seen a lot of them make changes to their staff this year. We saw Chuck Pagano get a full-time coaching role as DB's coach. We saw John Gruden, come in and work with the team during OTAs as an outside voice to look at the defense with the issues they had last year, just getting more experienced eyes on it. With Orr, I think was productive. So, seeing a lot of that. CJ Mosley, cornerback, is retiring a Raven. He was an All-Pro with the Raven. He was an All-Pro with the Jets. He did announce his retirement, I believe, last week. But he is going to retire a Raven, which surprises literally nobody. Signings. There were two. One, Rashad Bateman did get an contract extension, 3 years, $36.75 million, $20 million guaranteed. If you remember, he got a contract extension last year. It was kind of a dummy contract extension. I think it was 3 years, but only the first year had guaranteed money in it, as he's battled injuries and things like that. So this year's contract extension is a true extension. He has guarantees throughout all 3 years. Does kind of secure his future with the team. It does increase their cap flexibility going into the year, and it rewards him for having a great season last year. He was one of top 5 in terms of reception when targeted last year, and he's a great 50-50 go ball guy. So really happy for that. He did an interview with the Ravens podcast and talked about him and Lamar's connection, and Lamar really wanting him to get that contract and putting extra time into their dynamic and their connection on and off the field. And I think we really saw that last year. So I'm excited to see it develop further. Also signed, Jair Alexander, cornerback from the Green Bay Packers, to a 1-year, $4 million deal. It can be worth up to $6 million with incentives and things like that. We don't really talk cornerbacks unless they're on the Ravens or the Seahawks. We did, however, actually talk about Jair Alexander last year. He was the one that got suspended for a game because he went out to the coin toss in his hometown, and the Packers hadn't actually allowed him to do that, so they benched him a game. It's completely ridiculous. Very stupid. But we did talk about it.
Yes, it was.
He reunites with Lamar. They played together in Louisville. Lamar advocated for this. If you saw his press conference after the Packers released Alexander, he told EDC to go and get him at the podium, which I loved. Jair had more offers for more money and more years at other places. He picked Baltimore because of Lamar and because the Ravens' defense is kind of a coveted place for great defensive players. Jair does have injury problems, but most cornerbacks do. So,
and it's been
I'm not.
His injuries haven't been like major ones. They've just
He's
been
never
weird.
had major ones.
It's been like strains.
He's a great player. He's a great corner. He's a great locker room guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. This is a position, one, the Ravens had a lot of struggles with last year, was the passing game. With Ardarius Washington going down with the torn Achilles, more depth, more bodies at the position, never an issue. I thought they might add a safety because of Ardarius. What they are actually looking at is moving Jalen Armour Davis to safety. He has played that nickel slot in the past. He's just never stayed there. I think adding Jair,
kind of helps.
that's probably where you'll slot Armour Davis. They do also still have Bauer and Kane, who rookies last year. See what kind of progress they make this year. They've both spent a lot of time on special teams. See if they move up the roster. I do expect them to be on the team, though, on the final 53-man.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sign Jair. I'm pretty excited. I'm excited what this defense is going to look like. Here's what I will say. Arguably, on paper, right? And the NFL is not played on paper. I know that. You have one of the best defenses.
Yes.
You have probably one of the best secondaries. You have probably, if Malachi Starks is what we think he's going to be, you have the best safety tandem.
Yes.
You have one of the best inside linebackers. And
100%.
one of the best linebackers. And pass rushing has never been a Ravens misstep. Like, I know we don't have a Myles Garrett, but we have had players lead the NFL in sacks. We do, as a team, lead in sacks. In Van Noy and Simpson and all of these guys. The defense should not be the problem. And the offense should not be the problem with all of the signings made. I'm excited. I don't think he tips the scales because I don't think the Ravens are a player away. I think they're a mentality away.
I think he helps.
I think he helps. I absolutely think he helps. I just don't think that's the problem.
You don't think it's like you slot him in and you're automatically winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Like, last year, they went 12-5. With a better secondary, maybe you're the one seed in the AFC, right? So maybe things happen differently. But it's a mentality thing.
Yeah. We're
going to get into Lamar's press conference a little later, and so I do think I've seen a shift, but we're gonna get there. To sign Jair, they released an undrafted free agent running back, who I apologize, name I don't know, to make space. The logic was with Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, and Ali. Probably don't need a fifth running back. Probably be okay.
I think you'll be fine.
And Lamar Jackson. Like, I think we're good on the running front.
I think so. Sounds like you had 5 running backs still, though. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I lost count.
I'm
sorry. It was right there.
And then
I can't talk anymore.
Also, Trenton Simpson did give up his number to Jair Alexander. He was wearing 23. He gave it to Jair. He's now going to wear 32. So, one, I actually don't think Jair asked. I think Simpson just gave it. So, kudos to him. Glad to see that. I was not attached to Trenton Simpson's number, so sounds good.
If I was Trenton Simpson, I would have waited, had him ask, try to get something out of the deal.
Relevant injuries as we go into training camp. Keaton Mitchell is fully healthy. He remains fully healthy. He has been full participant when he's on the field. I expect that to continue. Obviously, we did see him last year. I expect to see his role expanded now with the extended rest. He did a press conference the other day, said that he really felt better after the rest for the 2024 season. So he is feeling fully healthy. He has full mobility in his knee. Everything seems to be on track there. Ardarius Washington apparently has not been ruled out for late in the season. I will not hold my breath. I think that's a bad idea, but we'll see. And then Emory Jones is expected to make his debut midway through training camp. They don't think he'll be ready at the start of it, but they do think he'll be ready maybe going into week 2. He was hurt entering the draft, as everybody knows. As an offensive tackle, that does actually lead to our offensive news. Last year, they were really tight-lipped about what that lineup was going to look like. They've kind of already said this year, it looks like Voorhees and Falele are in the running for the left and right guard position, both of which were up for grabs. What this tells me is they always thought Voorhees was going to take that spot. It was just the unfortunate injury that were keeping him down. To hear Emory Jones is getting healthy does make me feel better because our line is known to have injury problems. So to see that is positive. Also looks like Rosengarten is completely healthy. We know he was dealing with some back issues last year. He seems fully healthy. Now to Lamar's most recent press conference. He actually spent a good portion of it unprompted and unasked yelling about anyone that wanted to badmouth Mark Andrews. He was like, I'm not okay with the discourse that's occurred. I'm not okay with the conversations y'all are trying to have. It was not his fault. It was one freaking moment. We all have them. If he hadn't thrown 2 picks, maybe that doesn't happen. So he really went to bat for his guy. He really stood up for his guy. I appreciated that. I respected that. It's also why I was pretty confident he wasn't going to get traded. Lamar is still not talking his contract, which he never does. I also seeing a lot of people try to create drama out of that. He does have a contract, right?
It's like, didn't he just get one?
He's set to make a lot of money. Yes, the Ravens have expressed interest in signing him to a new deal. It's to rework the money. It's simply to make it so that he doesn't take up $75 million in cap space next year. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Yes, they've said they want to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not convinced Lamar Jackson cares. The whole point is his cap hit for the 2026-27 season is massive. So they just want to get him a new deal. But there's no drama. There's no problem. They'll get it done when they get it done. Lamar does not talk contracts outside of training camp. If it doesn't get done in the next month, it's not getting done this year. Yeah. I was talking about mentality. Lamar seems the lightest he's ever seen. And I don't mean in terms of physicality. He looks pretty much the same as he did entering last year. He hasn't really added or lost weight or muscle. But he seems lighter in his mentality. He seems more at ease, more excited than I think I've seen him ever. I don't know that that's the answer, but I do think, and I've preached, mentality is what's holding them back. Mentality is what's keeping them from a Super Bowl. And to see their quarterback come out, he was present for OTAs. They had pretty much 100% attendance their first round. Second round was a little more hit or miss. I believe they were all in the building. They just weren't on the practice field. You could really see it in the vets wanting to get over that hurdle, wanting to make that step. And I see it far more in Lamar's mental space than what I see on the field. And that's what I think is most important and where I think most of the improvement needs to come. So that's been exciting to see. Because I don't get excited about deep balls and shorts. I just don't. But seeing my quarterback be light at the podium, kind of danced around, just excited to play, just excited to be out there with his guys. That makes me excited. That gets me excited.
Interesting that they had full attendance.
Yeah, they don't take a true attendance. Like, they don't report it.
No,
But I know round one, Lamar, all of his tight ends, all of his wide receivers, Roquan, Hamilton, Humphrey, were all present.
No, it'll be interesting because we'll talk Seattle in a second.
Okay.
Because they had the same. So it was interesting that it's like Mike McDonald from the Baltimore tree.
Yeah, we're all on the same wavelength.
So I was
with that, Brennan, why don't you tell us about the Seahawks?
Yeah. So we got quite a bit. I'm going to do mine in actual chronological order. Okay. So first thing that happened, the Seahawks signed a tight end, released a wide receiver. Don't know the receiver's name. This was like a month ago. I'm sorry to the receiver that was released that I don't know your name. They signed Mitch Van Voren, tight end. He kind of had a cool story to him. He announced the pick some drafts ago. This was like a whole thing at one point during this draft that they were talking about, that he announced the pick for the Miami Dolphins like 4 drafts ago, something like that. So they signed him, and then 2 weeks later released him and signed an offensive lineman. Where is your name? They signed an offensive lineman. He's not going to make the team. He was signed for, I have no idea why, truth be told. We don't really need one, but they signed one. This is what Seattle does, by the way. We have talked about this before. They will sign somebody, release them 2 weeks later to sign somebody else, and they will be gone in the next 2 weeks to sign somebody else. When they first released the tight end, I thought it was to bring in somebody like Alexander. I knew Seattle was kind of kicking tires on a lot of veteran corners. So when someone like Alexander hit the market, I actually thought that Seattle was going to make a play at him. And then they released the tight end right after Alexander was released by the Packers. So I kind of thought that's where that was going. Then went with a undrafted offensive tackle. We'll kind of see what happens there. Don't expect him to make the team. Don't know what his name is. I'm not going to go try to find it at this point in time. On to OTAs. They had 100% attendance in OTAs, and that is confirmed 100% attendance. Again, Seattle doesn't really take attendance, but Seattle has a lot of beat writers that do. That is something that they pride themselves on doing. There's one that will literally try to talk to everybody at the camp. And he was like, everyone was there, all the vets, Darnold, Cup, and Smith and Jigba, everybody, including Uchenna Nwosu after his knee injury. Everyone was in attendance. Morale seemed pretty high. McDonald was doing a lot. Kubiak was doing a lot. Sounds great there. There was a lot of stuff going on. We got to minicamp. Once again, everyone was in the building for mandatory minicamp. It is mandatory. You can obviously get exempted from that, but everyone did show up, so that's also good. Only 2 players, I think, that matter weren't on the field during mandatory minicamp. It was 3. Only 3 players really didn't work out during mandatory minicamp on the field. It was Uchenna Nwosu, who was coming back from that injury last year. That's no surprise to me. He had surgery on it at the end of last year. They expect him to be ready to go by training camp, so they were just like, you cannot do minicamp. That's fine. He was still in the building, still there, just didn't work out. Kenneth Walker had an ankle thing going on, so he was kind of limited in a lot of practices. McDonald, in one of his press conferences, said it's a very minor ankle injury, but it's minicamp. We don't feel the need for him to risk.
Why aggravate it?
Yeah, we don't feel the need to risk him making it worse. We sat him, And then Riley Mills, their 5th-round draft pick, didn't really participate, but he's coming off an ACL tear not too long ago. I don't expect him back until I don't expect him practicing until like the end of training camp, and I don't even expect him to really make he'll make the team. I don't expect him to see the field, even be ready until midway through the season completely. So those are really like the 3 major guys that kind of just weren't fully participating. Otherwise, everyone was there. Everyone was pretty much full participants in practice. Seemed really good. A lot of the press conferences sound nice. Darnold did kind of struggle at times during minicamp and OTAs. I don't give a fuck. It's OTAs, people. There was a lot of questions of there's a couple. Is Sam Darnold your starting quarterback? To which Mike McDonald pretty much said yes and said fuck yeah, go fuck yourself in the nicest way possible. In a lot of those situations, he was like, yes, Sam is our starting quarterback. The fact that you're asking this is ridiculous. It's OTAs. It's OTAs. You are supposed to, one, new offense. Like, yes, the scheme is similar to what he's played in before, but it's new offense, new names. Like, he's got brand new receivers, brand new tight ends, brand new literally everything.
Yeah.
The defense has all 11 starters back with a head coach that is defensive minded. I think the defense is going to be better during OTAs. Just a thought. We have one of the best secondaries in the league. That tends to happen when your whole offense is new. The secondary is the best. You're going to struggle to throw touchdowns, and you're probably going to throw interceptions.
Yeah.
It is what it is. What I like to hear is he would throw an interception, and then he'd go right back the very next time, throw a touchdown. That's what I want to hear. You can throw interceptions during training camp. I don't give a shit. It's training camp. Real bullets aren't flying. I get all that argued. But that's kind of their time to experiment, understand what's going on, see reads, understand plays, understand who they're throwing to, all these things. It is very hard for a quarterback that's coming to a new system with new teammates to really exceed during OTAs. So the fact that he, struggled, but then immediately turned around and showed resilience and then threw touchdowns, I'm fine. That shows me all I need to know. I'm not worried about interceptions during OTAs when you're wearing shorts.
In a brand new system.
Yeah. Fine. You start doing that during the season, sure, we might have problems. But at the end of the day, I don't care right now. So yeah, I think there's a ton of overreactions there, but it's, it can't be helped. It just can't. You're going to have people that just are stupid and don't understand that it's June.
Yeah, it's June. It could not matter less, actually. It couldn't.
And actually, I'm pretty sure the Seahawks OTAs was in May. Was the end of May. So,
there you go.
Really could not matter less. So I'm not worried.
Well, there's, like you said, there's so many new pieces. In terms of, the staff is new.
Yeah, the whole... there's few... there are some holdovers from last year on the offense, like Kennedy Polamalu stayed. That's fine.
Yeah.
So the running backs still... But, at the end of the day, you have a new coordinator trying to install a system. You have Cooper Kupp, who's new to the Seahawks. You have... New to the Seahawks, he's never played with Sam Darnold. Jackson Smith-Njigba has never played with Sam Darnold. You have new tight ends. Noah Fant's been with the Seahawks, but new system. Never played with Sam Darnold. No one on the offense has ever played with Sam Darnold.
Yeah. So it takes a minute. And literally could not matter less right now. Could
Yeah.
not matter less. This is the time.
Yeah.
I would rather see more interceptions in training camp than none.
Yeah,
And this
none
time.
makes me think our defense is going to be terrible.
Yeah. Or it tells me like the quarterback's not taking any chances. You're not learning things.
Yeah.
You're making the exact read you're supposed to. Cool. What happens when a pass rusher's in your face?
Like what what happens if it's not there?
Yeah. Like
So again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Sam Darnold is great and that he's not going to throw any he's not going to throw any interceptions this season. It's just training camp. I'm not going to say that. We've seen Sam Darnold. Even
yeah.
when he had his season last year, there were still silly interceptions. That is just who he is as a player.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I think this system is going to be fine because it's not a pass heavy system. If it becomes one, I'm going to be upset because I think Seattle's not going to succeed. But this is a run heavy system.
Yeah.
So I'm not that worried. And again, it's fucking June. We still have like so long until we even get close to it mattering.
Yeah.
So I'm completely fine with what's going on. I don't care.
Sounds good.
And I think the other issue is you have Jalen Milroe that you just drafted, the rookie, uber athletic, coming in, and it's got a lot of people excited. A lot of people wanting to see that, but he's not ready. I will say, based on what I was hearing out of minicamp and OTAs, he's been making improvements every week in terms of his throwing ability, including the last day of mandatory minicamp. A very well-respected writer for the Seahawks came out and was like, that was his best day yet. He looked like he had so much confidence today. He was just going out there and slinging it. That gets me excited. Like, I want to hear that he has confidence because he does still need to develop, but I think the key to that is having confidence. So, at the end of the day, I don't expect him to do anything this year. If he comes in packages, fine. I think that would be helpful for the Seahawks. I just don't know if they're actually going to do that. But I would like to see him develop. And based on what I'm hearing, he is. And that's all Seahawks fans should be worried about. You don't want him starting games this year.
No.
That is like the worst case scenario.
He's nowhere near that.
He's nowhere near that. Everyone's making the Lamar Jackson comps. And fine, I see why. Okay, I see it. He is probably more athletic than Lamar Jackson when it comes to running the football. But that's about it. That's where
Lamar was a better thrower out of college.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fact.
I think Milroe might have him beat in terms of the deep ball. I think he can throw a better deep ball right now than Lamar could out of college.
That's fair.
But he can't throw a 10-yard pass. And you have to be able to throw.
You got to be able to throw the short ones.
Yeah. So he's developing. He's getting better. That's all I want to hear. I don't want him playing this year. To the Seahawks fans that are worried about
you at least
Darnold,
don't want him starting.
Yeah, if he comes in and runs does a QB draw like Taysom Hill would with the Saints, or if he comes in and runs reads like Lamar Jackson does,
yeah,
like runs a QB read, fine, because he is good at that. That is what he's good at. And if Kubiak wants to scheme up some things for that, by all means, that is another element to our offense that I'm okay with. But I do not want him starting football games this year at all. Like, preseason, I want him to play, like, damn near every snap of the preseason. I'm fine with Darnold and Locke. Like, obviously, I want Darnold to play, like, some snaps. You are new to the system. I mean, like... But at the end of the day, I want it to be, like, 80% goes to Milroe. The other 20% gets split however you want between Locke and Darnold.
It's fair.
So yeah, that's where I sit with the overreactions. It's just unnecessary at this point. But
I don't understand reactions to OTAs and minicamp
to me, yeah,
because, like, great plays in shorts are not that great. Bad
bad
plays in new systems with new coaches and new players
in
aren't
shorts.
that bad.
Yeah, like it.
Like, it's
Even
just not real.
okay, even if let's just take Lamar Jackson because he's
Yeah,
been in Monken's system for what 2 years now. This is his
yeah.
third year.
He threw 3 interceptions the other day.
Like it's his third year in Monken's system. He's not learning a new system. He's not with a new team. He's got all the same weapons. I would still expect him to go out there and throw a ton of interceptions in OTA mini camps.
He threw 3 the other day.
And that's fine.
Like, you know what happens? You know what that tells me? Maybe my fucking secondary won't be a problem this year.
Like the secondary's getting better.
He
He's
threw,
taking chances. He's
yeah,
they're figuring out
and
what works.
he threw a totality, right? 5 interceptions last year. But he threw 2 when it mattered the most with someone in his face. So I would rather he take chances, try new things with a pass rush in his face and a better secondary, trying to figure out what he can do.
Yeah.
So when the playoffs come, maybe we don't do that again. Maybe we don't need Mark Andrews slipping in the fucking snow on a play that they do all the time. It's not important. We're not talking about the Ravens. But that's what you want. If Lamar threw no interceptions during OTAs and mini camps, I'd be scared. I'd be terrified.
I would, yeah, truthfully, like
I'd be like, oh my god,
I'd
what
one,
happened?
I'd one be like, was the secondary there? Did they show
Yeah,
up?
like, was the offense supposed to win the day? What happened?
Like, did the secondary just not show up, like at all? Were they just
Like,
throwing to the offense? Like, was that the
yeah, like it wasn't even 7-on-7 at that point. It's just 7 out there.
yeah? Now, if you're throwing interceptions when there's only 7 out there, I might get concerned. I might have to
You're like,
question.
so crazy thing. Defense wasn't even on the field, but Lamar Jackson and Sam Darnold threw 5 interceptions to nobody. I'm gonna be like,
So you threw it to the other field?
what?
You missed that badly. That
What did you do? Like, one, I need video footage of this.
mainly because I think I'd be impressed. I think I would.
I'm like, 2, what was the goal?
But like again, I don't care at this point in
Yeah,
time.
it's because it's not real. What's important is the attendance, the
Yes, and the
energy,
fact that you got
the
100%.
mentality.
It seemed like
Like,
everything was going well. High spirits.
when hearing that Darnold threw the interceptions, but it didn't drag on him. He went out there and he made the right play the
Like
next go.
I think it was the
That's what's
first.
important.
I think it was the first day of minicamp. He threw like 3 interceptions in a really quick span. They went to like really quickly in 7-on-7s. He threw like 3 in a row. Not like
Okay.
3 consecutive plays, but like 3 drives in a
Yeah.
row. The next like 5 drives were all touchdown passes.
See?
That's all
That
you want.
tells you he's improving, he's getting better,
And
like, and he's not letting it weigh on him.
yeah, it's not like an interception is going to kill you at this point. Like
Yeah. So I
that's what I
mean,
care about.
I think those are great things to hear.
And
Like,
Cooper Cup has been raving about him, and I guess like again, you like as a receiver, you kind of have to pipe up your quarterback.
I mean, here's the thing though. As Cooper Cup, you could be like, yeah, it's good. It's good. Like,
It's
you
going well.
don't have to say anything.
Beyond it's going well.
Yeah, like you could just be like, I'm adjusting. I've had Matthew Stafford, who's got
And
one of the best arms in the NFL. I'm going from that to this. So we're just building that connection. We're taking that time. Like, you could just say that.
but he's
Nobody
been
would sit there and go, oh my God, he hates Sam Darnold. No, what? No. To actively rave about him, that's
like,
something else.
and I think what's also great is he's been joking around about like one of his press conferences I really liked because he talked about Sam Darnold's like how he eats like a 10-year-old was what the actual quote was. Because Sam wanted to go get dinner with Cup, which is very
Yeah.
standard for a quarterback and a wide receiver to do.
Yeah.
But he like suggested going to get like chicken tenders and fries. And Cup was like, "Bro, I have a kid. I could just make us that at my
At
house."
home.
So he was
Cup's
joking.
like, you got paid, right?
Yeah. So he's like, his palate is
We
that
have
of
money.
his palate's that of a 10-year-old. And I'm like, the fact that you feel comfortable enough to make fun of him in a press conference makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're shit talking, but like you're joking
Yeah,
around.
definitely.
You feel the
You're
chemistry.
building a good connection. There's good chemistry. That's what this time is about.
So, all that being said, whatever you see during mini camps doesn't matter unless it's like mentality, energy, and attendance. And
Yeah.
even
It
during
just needs,
OTAs, attendance sometimes just doesn't matter. Like, if people don't show up, I don't care. It
I
matters when
think
it's
it's
100%
more interesting when everyone shows up.
than when you have.
If they don't, that's okay too.
It's their off season.
Yeah.
Like if the like
They're
okay,
not required to be there.
if Kyle Van Noy or Leonard Williams, just to take two, a Seahawk and a Raven, decided to
Yeah.
not show up to OTAs,
Nobody gives a shit.
you're both vets in the league. Have a nice vacation. Like,
Yeah.
have a nice off
And
season.
it wasn't like the Ravens was not 100% every day.
The Seahawks, I think, was pretty much every like people were always in the building, whether they worked out or not was kind of dependent on
Yeah.
injuries.
Nope.
Um,
I know there were a couple days Lamar was not there.
and that's fair.
Harbaugh
Like,
and Markham were like,
there's
okay.
nothing wrong with that.
Like, he's
Again,
never not come into the season ready. He's never. Honestly, full disclosure, I kind of like it when he misses a couple days. Because that gives Cooper Rush, by the way, who is vastly different, very new,
reps.
it gives him time. It gives him reps.
So
Lamar is not
doesn't
injury prone, but he does get sick a lot.
and he's had a
I like,
couple injuries in his
yeah,
career.
I like knowing that my backup has had live reps,
And also
has had
Lamar
real time.
is one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. He gets hit more than damn near anybody else
Yeah,
because of it.
like I need a backup that can handle this system.
So
So I kind of like that during the install part of the offense, which is Lamar's third year, that Cooper Rush is taking more of the reps.
yeah, like who cares?
Like,
That's the
sounds
moral of the
good.
story. Minicamp really doesn't matter for
Not
stats.
important. No.
That's all we need to take away. There's one more thing to talk about with the Seahawks. They re-signed Michael Dixon. Well, they signed him to a new contract. Not necessarily re-signed. They signed him to a new deal. He is now the highest paid punter in the NFL. I think he's making like 16 point something for 4 years.
Yeah.
So, highest paid punter in the NFL. Well deserved. I think he is easily one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
Leads the league in like yards per punt and in punts within like the 20. So I'm all right with it. Like,
And you're not like you don't have like a super expensive roster. So
and
all good.
like, I'm sorry, but like $4 million for a punter is like that. Truthfully, he's good.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
I think having
Absolutely.
a really good punter is fine. because, like, at the end of the day, you need to be able to get yourself out of jail at some time. Like, the offense doesn't perform. It happens.
It's a position you need, so reward it when you have a good one.
So I'm fine with them making him the highest paid. I think he deserves it. I think he's easily been one of the best punters in the league since he's been drafted. I have no issues with it. Just something they did. But I think that's it. He's 16.2 to be exact.
Okay.
But yeah. So he's signed through 2029. So he's going to be there for a while. And he's a punter,
Nice.
which means he can play until like
For a very long time.
Yeah. So yeah. That's pretty much it with Seattle. It's been a lot of
Awesome.
overreactions. Not a ton of other things happened. We're just in that part of the offseason where it's dead.
Pretty slow. Yeah.
Which I like. Again, sometimes the best thing about the offseason is to just be out of the media.
Yeah. I don't want to be talked about.
Unless you re-sign somebody or you sign somebody. That's about it. So, all's good there.
Great. Awesome. Well, unless you have anything else.
I don't for the Seahawks. So,
okay. I do think. Go ahead.
I was like, we are going to skip doing our divisional recaps that we've been doing. We know it has been a month. So this episode's already longer than normal. So we are going to skip that one for this week. It's fine. We're to the part of the offseason where we no longer have NHL, no longer have NBA, not a ton of sports going on. This does give us more to talk about during normal videos. So we're going to skip it. We will be doing the Ravens and Steelers next week to start the AFC North.
Yep. And we'll still be diving into baseball. Obviously, still talk WNBA. And we'll talk other news as those sports come. But given our unplanned vacation, we're probably not going to take another one. So we are going to try and have videos coming out during this slow time. So yeah, like Brendan said, we're going to save some of that stuff for then.
Yeah. And if y'all have any sports now that you would want us to check out, baseball, I watched the lacrosse game the other day. If you know, I just want to hear about lacrosse. That's going on right now. The WNBA, but we talk about that. That's pretty much it, I think, in terms of sports I'm aware of.
I watched a little volleyball.
Fair. So if you guys want to hear about some other sports, let us know down below in the comments. We'd be happy to talk about other ones. Someone requested baseball. We're going to start talking about the MLB as we go on now from here on out. So if you have a sport you want us to talk about, just let us know.
Heck yeah. We'll
do some research and we'll figure it out. So all that being said, yeah, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow us on X. We'll be better about posting updates of the show on there. And when the show goes out, when we decide to take a hiatus, we'll be better.
To be fair, we didn't know we were taking it. We really didn't. We didn't know that's how that was going to happen.
But if it happens again,
we're
going to
do our best to be better.
We will be better. So yeah, all that being said, I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
And thank y'all.
Bye.